Right. So welcome everybody. It's good to be back live and in person. Hopefully some of you heard our call last week, which was recorded. Who heard that call? I sent out the recording. Yep, 1, 2 people. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad I took time to do that. But anyway, if you didn't have a chance to hear that recording, it was all about questions to organize your life in a very productive and positive way. They were kind of deep thought questions. So we're on a little trend here. I'm borrowing some stuff in the last few weeks from Tony Robbins. And I know a few weeks ago we talked about questions. Who was there for that one? We talked about questions or the answer. Yeah? Remember that one? Good. And evidently we have someone that's in a factory area. So go ahead and mute yourself. There you go. The questions you ask yourself, whatever questions you ask, your brain will give you an answer, right? So if you ask good questions, you're going to get good answers. You ask bad questions, garbage in, garbage out. So that was our call a couple of weeks ago. We're going to keep talking about how important it is to control your brain and what goes on within it, right? So today we want to talk a little bit about this sheet that you've got with you called Watch Your Words. I don't know if you've noticed this, but I know when I was selling for years and years, and certainly when I was in a leadership role, I was aware of my self-talk. All the who listens to their internal monologue as you make calls and you're in meetings. Have you noticed it? You're aware? Good. Well, sometimes we're unaware of the words that we choose, right? So I want to, today's an awareness day. I want you to, if you could have a little recording device, you could hook it on your head and it would record the monologue you have with yourself as you evaluate the calls you make and you evaluate the meetings you go to. That would be interesting to, at the end of a week, to push play and listen to everything that you tell yourself and listen to the words that you've selected to describe your experience. Okay, some of you are saying, Lee, you seem pretty chipper today. Well, you know why? Because I got a new jacket. Look at this. LGFG, and I'm wearing it with my favorite swimming shirt. But this is something that Tonu got me. Huh? So I'm going to be strutting around here in Nashville, Tennessee, and everybody's going to be going, wow, what is that brand? And I'm going to be promoting the company. So anyway, that's an aside. Right. Well, take a minute right now. Here's what I want you to do on your sheet or somewhere. Just write down 3 words that you currently use on a regular basis to make yourself feel lousy or crappy, or, you know, they might, you know, just think for a minute or ask one of your office mates if you're like, well, I don't think I'm negative ever. Well, maybe they notice. But jot down a few words that you use to describe your situation when things aren't going well. Okay? Emma, don't write anything down because I noticed you were driving. Do not do that unless you pull over. So what we say when we talk to ourselves is pretty key. Now, if you remember way back to last summer, we discussed the self-talk cycle and the fact that words create pictures, pictures create feelings, and all that combines to impact our performance. So you can have self-fulfilling prophecies. You've all done this when you're selling. You say, oh my gosh, I don't think they probably won't, I won't be able to book this. This won't be a qualified person. And then suddenly they're not. And you go, then you tell yourself about it. I knew it. I knew that wasn't going to be a good prospect. So it's kind of a cycle. And we've got to really pay attention to our diction, which is a fancy word for word choice. All right. So if you look at your sheet, okay, you've written down a few words, right? You may have written down frustrated, sad, disappointed, angry, pissed off, whatever, but you've got words that you use on a regular basis. Now, after you've identified these words, what I'm going to challenge you to do at the end of this call is to change those words to something different, better, transformative, or even funny. Because when you do something, you know, if you're upset and you can do something and it changes your state, your emotional state, you can do that in a second. I'll give you a couple examples today. All right. So what this will do if you're a first year, if you're kind of a rookie, in the business and you've been with LGFG just a few months, this will reduce the amplitude of our emotional roller coaster. You guys are familiar with that? I remember when I first started selling, I was like, yay, I made a sale. Oh, I suck at this. Whoopee, I made a sale. Oh, I hate my life. So some of you are doing that to yourself, and it's really extreme. So let me encourage you to start paying attention to what you're telling yourself with the words. Right. All right, let's go down the left-hand side. I wrote down a bunch of descriptors there on the left-hand column where it says negative emotion or self-talk. How many of you felt afraid before when you were making calls? You were a little bit scared. Yeah? Good. Honesty. I like it. Well, fear is not a real motivational word. It's not a word. Or being afraid doesn't help you be confident. It doesn't help you be your best. So when you now say, oh, I feel afraid, we're going to transform that, write down this word. Now you're going to be feeling uncomfortable. Okay, so write that down across from the word afraid. So afraid becomes uncomfortable. Now, if you're having that little, when you feel afraid, how many of you feel something in your stomach? Like some people call it butterflies in your stomach, or you feel like a tightness in your chest. I don't know. Everybody reacts differently to fear. But instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid, or when you get that sensation, just say, I feel uncomfortable at the moment. Now, isn't that better to deal with, discomfort, than fear? Yes. So that's a new word for you when you're feeling that feeling. All right. When you're feeling anxious, who's felt stressed or anxious? Raise your hand. This is group participation day. All you have to do is raise your hand. Good job. All right. Anxious is going to transform to the word expectant. So go across and write expectant. So when you feel that, I'm a little anxious before this meeting, no, you're expecting good things to happen. Oh, that feeling I've got right now before I walk into the office, I'm expecting great things. That's all it is. I do my best when I'm feeling a little bit expectant. Isn't that easier than anxious? Yes. Let's do another one. Confused. How many of you, especially when you first started in the business, were confused at times emotionally? Yeah? Of course you were confused, but confusion is not a state that we want to spend a lot of time in. So now when you feel confusion, you don't say, man, I'm so confused, I don't know. You're going to say, I'm really curious. So confused becomes curious. Isn't this fun? And all it is you're just simply changing words a little bit, and it changes feelings. Let's do another one. Depressed. I don't know if any of you have been really depressed about your situation. You're like, man, I've had kind of another sucky month. Well, guess what? You no longer get to be depressed. The new feeling that I'm now giving you is calm before action. I'm feeling calm before action. All right? That was kind of different. So if you notice that you're sitting and you're looking down and to the right a lot, this is how people do depression. And they don't breathe very much. But if you're thinking, I'm just calm before I take action, that makes all the difference. Okay? So I know this is a little bit goofy, but if it changes your state, that's awesome. That's what we want. All right, exhausted. Who's been absolutely exhausted after being in turf or after making calls for 12 hours a day? Anybody? Yeah? Few people? Excellent. Well, exhaustion is not a fun state. Why don't we change that to recharging? Huh? You're not exhausted. You're recharging. I remember when I told my kids when they were playing sports, I've done this for a long time. And so when they were like, after an event, they're like, Dad, I'm so tired. I'm going, no, your body's just recharging. Just relax. You're going to be fine. So it's a subtle difference, but important one. Here's another one. Look at that next word on the list. Failure. Man, I'm telling you, when I first started off in management or leadership or, selling, there were many times I thought, wow, I'm really not good at this. I'm failing, right? Some of you may have felt that way. Well, we're going to give a new word that I think is probably, you can put a star by this if you're getting underway with LGFG, because this will make a massive difference if you choose a different word. Then instead of recording and filing failure away as to describe how you're doing currently, use this word, learning. Learning. Wow, what a shift. Can you believe it? Like I had 2 roommates way back when I was selling books with Southwestern. And they were both, we were all underway, we were all getting started, and they were doing particularly not well. But when they came in at night, we would all discuss how the day went. And one guy, he always described it the same way. He said, I suck at this. I am not good at sales. I'm just failing. So that's how he described himself and his experience to his brain. Another guy who was not doing any better came in, and I said, Matt, how's it going with you? And he said, I am learning tons. Guess who did better? Guess who survived? Guess who actually became productive? You're right, Matt, because his brain said, okay, I know this is hurting a lot, but I'm learning. I'm not failing. I could be failing potentially, but the fact is every time I miss a sale or mess up a close or blow a call, I'm simply giving my brain more examples to improve myself. Yeah, so we're learning tons. That's a fun one. All right, some of you have been angry after you messed up a call, right? You just took off your headset and went, you were just pissed. Maybe it was how someone treated you. So instead of angry, let's tweak that a little bit. Let's just do a smidge grumpy. Okay? You're like, what? This is ridiculous. I know. But see, when you tell yourself, when you're really angry and you go, wow, I've just noticed emotionally that I'm a smidge grumpy, then you kind of smile a little bit and you laugh and it changes your state just in a second. And that's what you want. Okay? So that's what you can do. I've heard people say this a lot. I hate my job, or I hate what I'm doing, or I hate sales. And no, you don't. You don't hate sales. You hate not sales. You hate not selling. That's what you hate. None of you make a sale or complete a call or to get a qualified booking and go, man, I hate this. Right? You're all just like, that's kind of cool. But it's not selling that you hate. So what I'm going to encourage you to do instead of using the word I hate is let's just change it, because hate is a really strong word. Let's do I prefer. I prefer. Write that down off to the side. See, I'm giving you new vocabulary. Look at the next one. If some of you have been irritated, man, that client just irritates me. Well, try this. How about, man, she was really stimulating. That's a different word. It's fun to be stimulated, as you know. Think about it. So rather than be irritated, just choose to be stimulated. Okay? All right, I got to keep going because I'm having fun. How about lonely? Some of you have been in a city. Some of you, clothiers are out there in a city and you're lonely and you're like, oh, here I am. I'm looking at my Airbnb and I have no friends or whatever. You're feeling sorry for yourself. Lonely becomes this. Write this down, a little phrase. Temporarily on my own. I'm just temporarily on my own. That's easy. You can handle that. Lonely's harder. Some of you have been lost, right? I just feel lost. Being lost is if you're driving around, you don't have GPS functioning on your phone and you have no idea where you are. Or in your life, if you're lost and that's what you're telling yourself, that is a scary feeling. So new word, much better. Tell yourself, I'm searching. Write that down. That's a good one. Searching you can do. Being lost, not fun, not good. All right. Some of you have been nervous, right? You're like, if you think about sports, when you've done sports before and you feel that kind of right before the gun goes off or right before the tournament starts, that you can tell yourself, man, I'm so nervous. I'm so uptight. Here's a better way to describe that. Instead of nervous, tell yourself, I'm energized. That, whatever I'm feeling, that's energy. That's not fear. That would help you. Okay? Overwhelmed. I know that when I talked to Yana last night and her team, She said that's sometimes how she feels. So we were trying to pick out new words in case has anybody felt overwhelmed besides her? Okay, a couple of you. Well, so here's an easy one that's kind of stupid. You can be underwhelmed. Man, all these circumstances are underwhelming me. Or if you don't like that, if you think that's just too silly, write down challenged. Because challenged is a good one for being overwhelmed. I am being challenged right now. It's going to make me a better leader. That's a good one. All right. Many of you have been pissed off. I included this. Pissed off, we will change that to tinkled. I'm so tinkled. Now, most of you inwardly, if you didn't outwardly smile, you would inwardly go, that's funny. Or you can use the word peeved. Maybe that's an American phrase. I'm so peeved. No one uses those words. They say, I'm pissed off. But you can use tinkled now. It's so much easier on your body. Okay, keep going. Rejected. Now, all of you have felt rejected, right? Right? Who's felt rejected in sales? Yes. Emma, I know you're raising your hand somewhere while you're driving. That's okay. People are waving at you in cars. All right, here's the new one for you. This will really help you. Instead of being rejected, you have simply been misunderstood. Huh? Voila. So you can say, well, how did the week go? I had so many misunderstandings this week. It was great. I'm learning a lot. See, you can put these together. Wow, how fascinating. Okay. The next one I included because I've actually heard it from some of you when I was coaching on the phone, and that was the oh shit. You can simply dial that back just a little bit by saying, oh, poo. Poo. No one says poo, and that should make you smile and go, how ridiculous, me saying, oh, poo. And then you'll laugh and it'll change your state like that, which is what we want. All right. And finally, some people, again, I've taken this and gleaned some of these from calls when I was coaching you guys, but I'd say, well, how was your last month? And you'd say, terrible. Okay. I'm doing terribly. Okay. So that's one way to describe your experiences. Here's maybe a different way. Instead of saying terrible, just say it was different. Now, that takes a lot of sting out of terrible. I had a really different month last month. I was searching and energized and stimulated, whatever. But you can use a lot of these new words, okay? So I hope this makes sense a little bit. You've got to, as it says at the bottom of the page, you've got to choose your descriptors carefully because your brain is cataloging everything in your memory bank. And the more you use bad words to describe your experiences, that creates kind of a rut mentally. It's like your go-to negativity. And if somebody says, well, Lee, does this mean I can't be angry or I can't be afraid? No, but you just don't want to make that your instant go-to emotion and description of everything that's happening to you. All right. So remember, your words create pictures and feelings which impact your performance and your attitude. All right. So here's your assignment. I want you to think about the words you wrote down on your piece of paper there at the beginning, like your favorite negative emotions, and maybe kind of like we've done here, transform some of those into better words. Like I had one of you tell me one time that, I said, how was your trip? One of the clothiers, they said, oh, I got destroyed. I was crushed. Well, how about if we just dialed that back and said, I had some setbacks. Setbacks. So look at your words, think about it, make some changes. Or if you're in a team environment there, help each other with your words. So your assignment is not only to rethink some of your words, but also to help each other. As you hear people having conversations, if you hear them use one of their favorite negative emotions, maybe just go, whoops, let's try this word, So help each other out with that. Now, if you do really well, then if you flip your sheet over or go to the second page, after you do this for a couple of weeks and you're kind of getting the hang of it, and some of you don't have a big problem with this, some of you are like pretty even keeled and you're not super emotional and you don't use negative descriptors a lot. So you can graduate to this next level. And this is all from Tony Robbins, but he takes normal sounding words and then amps them up. Okay. So let me go through just real quick some of these good words and then I'm going to give you even better words. So when you're having conversations with yourself or other people, you can use these. So some of you've been real comfortable in your comfort zone. So now you can be smashing, right? Smashing across from comfortable. Now, do not try this if you haven't mastered the first page. If you do, your brain will explode. So do not attempt this unless you've graduated from page 1. All right. So this is future assignment. Determined, new word, becomes unstoppable. Yeah. Determined becomes unstoppable. Fast becomes ballistic. I like that. No one uses the word ballistic, but you can do it now. Fortunate. People say, how are you doing with your job? Some people would very humbly say, I'm very fortunate. Well, that's nice. But why don't you tell them, I'm unbelievably blessed. Wow. That's kind of cool. Unbelievably blessed. And here's a good one. If somebody said, hey, I'm doing great, that's nice. But you can tell them, I'm doing phenomenal. Great becomes phenomenal, right? Interested becomes enthralled. Do you find your job interesting? No, I find it enthralling. It's absolutely captivating. This is kind of Dimitri kind of stuff. This is stuff that he likes. He pays attention to words a lot. Here's a good one. So I remember people used to ask me when I was in sales, they'd say, do you like what you're doing? And I would, my normal answer would be, yeah, I like it when I'm selling. Mm-hmm. So that conversation's useless. Then I changed my vocabulary. I said, well, do you like what you're doing? I said, no, I don't like it. I relish it. Relish is a good word. All right, keep going. Okay, like how you doing? Okay. Don't use that. Say I'm perfect. Things are perfect. Quick becomes explosive. Terrific becomes ecstatic. I'm ecstatic. I'm experiencing ecstasy every day. Okay, that's being silly. Smart. You don't want to be smart. You want to be gifted. I'm feeling really gifted at what I do. I'm not just smart and intelligent when it comes to selling. I'm gifted. I'm your gifted personal tailor. How about that? All right. So use page 2 only when you've gotten out of page 1. All right. But I want most of us to go back to page 1 and really tweak our words. Pick them carefully. All right. So that's it for this week. We've talked about questions or the answer. I gave you some super deep questions last week on the recording to kind of deal with, or 2 weeks ago. And then this week we're talking about the words that we choose to describe our experiences, how they impact our business. So I'll open it up. Does anybody have any thoughts that you would like to contribute?
We had a question we missed. I hate transforms to what?
Yeah, it's just use a different verb. It becomes I prefer. I would prefer this not happen instead of I hate when this always happens. See, so I prefer is a little lighter.
You gotta say, Lee, I don't hate this, but I both rue and lament it.
Yes.
For those of you advanced English speakers. Yeah. I have a word that I really like that I learned this a couple of years ago as well, and I applied it like ostensibly, but I think the word for me is the word fascinating. I really like that, and I run into a lot of problems. And so like I'll get into like this really shitty situation. I have a bit of a cursing issue, like some have noted. And so now my F word is I'm like fascinating. That's, so like if you ever hear me say that word, things aren't going well. But I go, that's, and the client's like, man. And I go, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I like that, fascinating. So fucked up for me has just become fascinated over the years.
Okay. And so do you tell people that? Fascinate you.
No, I don't. And this is something and people that know me know that I'm very big on my selection of words, of course. Yes. But the word, so I'll be like, talking to my business coach, which is like John for me. And I go, I have a very fascinating situation. And one of the great things about that is like when I say the word fascinating, I find that it really helps me solve problems better. Because, a fascinating situation is one that I want to explore. Another one for me, this is just me sharing some personal stuff. The guys that know me already know I do this a lot, is, problems, like if you guys have problems, right, and I have problems too, and so what I do is I have the machine, right? I have this machine, and I tell people about my machine, and what I do with this, it's an amazing machine, and what I do is I take this machine and I take problems and I put them into the machine, and then I press go, and then money comes out the machine. So I turn problems into money.
Wow.
And so, and this is something that, and you guys know me well, you guys know that I talk about this all the time, and so I kind of go like, okay, here we go. I have a real money-making opportunity right now. Like I just, I got some information today. I'm like, great, I got some money-making opportunities happening. I just got to put this. I got some new fuel for the machine.
That's good.
And so, and this is something that is very personal to me because I do tend to become very negative when I'm stuck in my own thoughts, and I think most of us do, anyways. In some case, so I like this call. I like this, and I use it all the time. I'm a testimonial.
There you go. A walking, living testimonial to the usefulness of this. So the big step on this, everybody, is to be aware of what you're saying and how you're describing it. So ask for help from people. You could even put a little jar on the table in the office, and every time you used one of these negative emotion descriptors that wasn't building you up or helping your confidence, you could all agree to put, I don't know, $1 in the cup or something. You can do it any way you want, but awareness is a big part of this. Okay. And you should have fun with it. Make it funny, make it silly. It's a lot more useful. All right. Anybody else? Last call for comments. Seeing none. Yes.
I just want to say I got some fascinating money-making opportunities I got to get to. So you guys have a good day.
That's great. Everybody have a great week. We will talk again next week. Appreciate you attending. Bye-bye.